Hello. Today we're going to talk about how to post payments for a customer. It's fairly straightforward, but because GlobalBake has the general ledger turned on automatically for your system, you'll have to manage the cash book, which seems confusing, but it's really not that bad. It's just one extra step we have to deal with. And we can do that all from the customer receipt screen. So when we have a check or a payment electronically, or however we have it, and we have that information, check with the invoice number or invoice numbers that they're going to pay with that check, for example. Here's how I would go about it. On the customers menu, select the receipts option. This will open a list in the system of all the receipts in the system if you have any. In my demo system, I don't have any, so it immediately came up with the entry screen. Under this area, I would enter the customer's alpha key if I know it. If I do not know it, I can double click in this field and bring up a list of customers that would like to make a payment for. Let's select this one, customer number 91, BPFN. So I'll double click to select that. Now this information has been inserted here, which is wholly dependent on what is entered here. Okay, to the right of this, I'm going to specify that it's a check, and I like to put the check number here. This bank and branch information is provided by the customer, and this is something that is used in British Commonwealth nations like Australia and New Zealand, but not necessarily in other parts of the world. So I usually just blank it out. Moving down, these fields are, if you have multi-currency and things like that, they will be lit up, but usually they will be grayed out for you. And it keeps wanting to put those things back in there. Whether they're there or not isn't really a big deal. These are the important parts down here in the bottom. Now, the date is the date we're doing the entry. It could be the date of the check or the date you're doing the entry. It's up to you. And how you want to do that, I would just say be consistent like any accounting process. The reference field, this is something that will appear on transaction reports. So I actually like to put the check number here as well, just to double up and make sure that I can follow my path through the system. Receipted is the amount of the check. In this case, we're going to pay the balance on this customer, which is $1324.45, which is the current balance up here. Discount would be if we had any kind of settlement discount or anything. On this customer, we do not, so we will talk about that some other time. This field is a notes field, so you can say, if you wish, you can record what you would like to say about this receipt, if there's anything you need to say. Most times there's probably not. So I'll just put here that this is an account payoff. Okay. Now, I can't save anything yet because I need to apply it to a cash book. So these tabs here, cash book, bank account. This field, it doesn't say anything, it doesn't look like anything, but if I double click, it'll open a cash book window for me. In this cash book, it wants me to select a bank account in the system. Now, in my system, I have one set up, and you likely already have one set up in your system as well. So I can double click here, and I'll select the check account here, just like that with another double click or the pick button, whichever is easy. Once I have that, I can save and exit because now I have a cash book created, and there it is. So because I didn't have one, it gave me a screen to create it. I applied a checking account to it, and then saved it, and now I have one. So now I can select this cash book for my payments to be recorded against. And the easiest way to understand a cash book is it's a list of money in or money out in the system. So in this case, this is money in, so it's a debtor or customer cash book. So your customer receipts for the day can all likely be placed against the same one. I would say have a different cash book for credit card payments and make a quote bank account unquote that is your credit card, so you can segregate those payments easily in your system for accounting and tracking purposes. And I would also say that in most cases a cash book is usually lining up, and 99% of the time it lines up with what your deposit slip is for the day. And usually most people make a deposit every day or once or twice a week. However often you do it, you can align your cash books that way if you wish. For me, that ties in and makes it easy for me to track things when I'm looking at statements and things and know what incoming check is on what statement, which is on what cash book or whatever. It's just a little bit of reinforcement, but it is up to you and how you want to manage it. Now that I have this information entered, and we have a cash book and we have this information, now I can hit save. And when I press save, the system opens up this screen, which is an allocation window. And this is how we, quote, pay, unquote, the invoices with the check. So in this case, I'm paying everything, so I could just use the auto allocate button and it would pay all of these items. If I wanted to pay individually, I could just double click on each one of these fields to pay those items. And here I entered it in wrong. I had 1 cent off. So I have 1 cent unallocated. So how I fix that is I fix it on the other screen. So I hit exit. And it says, oh, you're over allocated. Set my discount to 1% to 1. So I'm going to say no because I made a mistake. So I'll put a 6 in here and save it again. And that should balance things out. So now things are balanced. So I had a typo. I fixed it. And that is how you pay things. It's pretty straightforward. When I exit this, now I have a receipt in the system. So now when I go to the customer menu and receipt tab, it shows me I have a receipt. If I need to open this and look at it again, I can open it up. And I can see what's what with it. If I'm applying multiple things to the cash book, I can see it there. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to get into the cash books another way in just a moment. And so if I want to see what things are allocated here, if I want to print this allocation out, I can. I can do the print allocation right here and preview that to my screen. And I see that my payment came in and I paid these invoices with it. And this is one of the reasons that I put the check numbers where I do and things like that. Not for this report, but for another one, so that they appear on some of these reports. And it's very straightforward. If I made a mistake and I need to delete this, I have to unallocate everything first. So I would unallocate either using the button to unallocate everything, or I would individually double click in the credit field to unallocate that, just like this. Just take it away. And as I do that, it changes here from unallocated amount and balance. If I reapply it, it goes away again. So that's the basics of how to do that entry. And when we're talking about cash books, on the ledger menu, there's an option here that says cash books all. This will show us all the customer and vendor cash books for a particular day. Now we just have one in my demo system, which is the one we just created. And if I double click on it, I see here what's going on with it. Now, this is the BP ferry meeting. This is what the receipt looks like.